Yeah, welcome everyone. This video is about channeling math and geometry and how I do this, how it works for me, what is happening in this moment and how it proceeds. Okay, so welcome. If you are the one who like to do the same, maybe you get some inspiration here. Okay, channeling of math came to me in several steps. So first of all, math, geometry and art were and are my favorite subjects already in school, in younger days and later. So I always looked for the combination of math and creativity. And in the beginning, of course, sometimes it related, but in this subject now it finalizes, yeah. So it's so amazing. I was not aware of what I'm doing today some years ago, and it all developed in certain kind of capabilities. So first of all, it started with toning. So toning is like bringing music or frequencies, energy, through my body. And for me it was like humming and being in a wonderful energy, and it was a transformation tool for me to get it to my emotions and to realize what these emotions are. So it was kind of an information energy system that comes into me when I'm toning. I'm still doing this, and I'm also doing this in combination with channeling math. That's interesting actually, because when I'm drawing some mathematical structures and numbers and combinations, then, and I'm really have, it's calm outside, my kids maybe are sleeping or outside or somewhere in the kindergarten, I don't know, when I have quietness around me and nobody is like in my attention field, or let's say I'm not paying attention to someone, so I can focus on myself, then actually I start light language. And sometimes it's the same language, sometimes a little bit different. I cannot say which star system now, it's not on my knowing yet, and it just happens. So also now, that's the reason why I auditing or filming this video now, is because I was inside a process, and I will go into it further after this video, and I realized, okay, this is really interesting because I'm reflecting on how I'm doing this so that I can give this to you as well. And sometimes toning is combined with drawing structures and sometimes not, and it's also it's like timestamps. Let's say, for example, 10 minutes I'm drawing something. Actually today it was 1 hour and then it started with toning, like for example, ratete atena urasha katana aite hursha sane ene kuita kara ayena oshata I nuhisa tena ayetena hu etai nukai shatena uea horata, for example, yeah. And I'm doing this while I'm looking on my paper with my drawing, and it seems like some more information is downloading, and suddenly I got an idea and I see more connecting points between what I've drawn and what is still inside, what is also there to see. And this is inside the process channeling. The starting point for channeling is for me very often, I'm saying not every night, but especially in the portal days, like when the dimensions are quite open or really near to each other. Yeah, that's the portal days, and now it's carnival time, and I'm not playing or celebrating it in a way our society is doing it. This is when I started really a lot of channelings, and it's not that I wanted this, it's just happening that I wake up in the night, sometimes at 1 o'clock. It depends when I go to sleep. Actually, I go to sleep earlier now, so I have another quality of energy for channeling in the night, so I have a bigger time sleep before. And for me, it's not like waking up in the middle of the night. It's like beginning the day a little bit earlier, so to say. Okay, maybe this is not quite understandable, but fine. So it can be 1 o'clock, but mostly it's like 3 or 4 o'clock, can be 5 o'clock. Yeah, it's really different. I don't know what the dependencies are. It just happens. My conscious gets awake of a structure. It's mostly structures, geometrical structures in my mind. And in the moment when I wake up, normally there's no trigger. Sometimes there is, but sometimes not. And when I have enough energy, and most of the time I have enough energy and I don't know how to sleep again, then I say, okay, this structure is so amazing. There were some connecting points inside this structure which made me mind-blowing. And then I try to draw this down, and in this process of get up, sit on my table, just start drawing, and in this process it suddenly started to formate into another teaching that I wasn't aware of. And so it's like giving an appetizer for me to go and write something. It's amazing what's coming in the process after that. And sometimes my table looks really nasty. Normally I'm a really structured and ordinary, clear and structured person, and everything has to have its place. But sometimes my table gets really nasty. Here, like a paper and there paper from this day and that day, and I don't know where to put this yet. And then someday, or it comes to a point where I suddenly look into these again and I see connecting points, and that's when I start structuring again. Okay, this is that and this is also that, and there's something more inside, and then I can recombine again. So sometimes, so to say, we need to have the more chaotic part in us to be capable of letting information settle, to make something without knowing everything, but without throwing it away, finding something interesting, but it's fine, and you put it aside, and later on there will be the connecting points. This is actually how we finally learn here in 3D, in this body. Everything needs to come after each other, but there are so many things which are related. Actually everything is combined, connected. We as a human species are connected, and we are even more connected to the other space beings. And I feel so connected to the starry seeds. I don't know which kind of race exactly, but I have the assumption of Pleiades and Arcturian, but I don't know exactly. So as a child, I always was looking up in the stars and trying to find something there. It was like magic, but actually I couldn't. I had no connection to everything there. So I made my experience as a human in my family with my teachings to solve kind of family topics, which I took over in this dress, so to say, when I incarnate in this body. And as a soul, I wanted to give light into the structures, and that's why I first, so to say, needed to solve the family problems first, which are in me. So what I would give to my children if I'm not changing it, that's the thing. I'm not doing this for my mom, my dad, whoever, my grandfather, my grandmother. Actually, I'm doing this also so they can learn from that. There's an energy which is flowing into everything, so it gets kind of a wow effect. That's why it is happening always and always the same in generations. And that's where my mother, their mother, their mother and mother and so on has not understood what to do different in educating children, in be nourishing children, so to say, how to raise little children, babies, what is the need for them. And in my experience, there's so much I could talk about being a mother and what I thought would be right and it was wrong, and sometimes it was the middle, and so much things. And one part is that my partner, who's coming from Peru, is giving me exactly these points in kind of a mirror thing, where I had to integrate and not go against. It was like integrating always these kind of differences, cultural differences. So it's such a huge positive way of living, and I'm so grateful for being with him, what he can teach me just with the way he is and what he brings from his culture and his way of educational system. And I mean, not the system in school, I'm talking about culture. So I'm talking about this and that, and then I finally need to go back to where I started from. Healing ourselves means breaking up free from family structures which are not meant to be as from the law of one, as we are all connected, and what it really needs in certain ages. And there are different things which are needed. And it's not that the child needs to learn things very early. It's depending on its state of consciousness. And that's where I was born with a consciousness of a child, and that's where I kind of get stuck into because of my family generations. I realized this later. So I needed to kind of break free of my own limited consciousness, and therefore then I could act like a different mother. I'm not finished with everything because I don't know. It's always like this. You never know what is there. I don't know what I know. Sometimes I really surprised what I know, but actually I don't know if I know it or if it's coming. So like downloading. So I'm talking about channeling. Somehow knowledge is deep connected inside our soul, but we get help from others, our soul sisters, star sisters, or also our guiding team in the other dimensions, and they kind of get us some triggers to go somewhere, to look somewhere, and to remember. It's a remembering actually, which is coming even further with the help of channeling, with the help of toning, with downloading information, which can change the direction or the focus of my attention in this dimension, in what I'm doing now, what I'm focusing. And this is what toning actually does. When it automatically comes, it sets the focal point, so to say, what is needed here, because you can look in a lot of directions. You can turn around and you don't know what should I look next. If I'm analyzing too much, then I don't know what to look. But channeling is, I'm not looking, I take what it comes, and then I know, okay, this direction, and I'm not questioning this. I don't know where it's going, and it's wonderful. And even at the end of a channeling, if I'm not really happy with everything and it doesn't look complete, I don't know if I should make a video now or not, then it's fine. Sometimes information are coming later, and trust the process. You are so much guided when you're doing this. Important, this is what I said in the German video about channeling, which actually has less information, but I try to switch in English now because it is more important for the world than Germany itself. We need to have what I want to say, don't know. It's important to have enough energy from sleep. So go to sleep when you're really tired. and to eat and drink correct. So I'm not drinking alcohol, I'm not smoking, I'm not eating animals, sometimes cheese. I try to avoid sugar because it's forcing my logical mind, and for channeling I need the intuitive mind. And this is working with an, so to say, higher energy, means the food and the water needs to have also another energy, which is more vibrating in the frequency that connects everything, the light frequency. That's where you can find in raw food. It's my biggest point in my nutrition, my meals, a lot of raw things, fruits and vegetables, and a little bit cooked, yeah, and only water. I don't drink any juices, bought juices. I only, if I drink juices, then only in the morning, mostly, and it's only fresh juice. So like orange and apple, I mix it, and nothing additional. So it's, I try to live more original, and I cannot stay with only raw food. I've made this, I mean, maybe I can, not yet, I'm not sure. I think, what was it, 5 years ago? Or, I mean, this is a long part of my history also, getting to know what is the real nutrition and what not. And I experienced with a lot of things, and as was also raw food, and I managed to have a 3 months total time for raw food, nothing cooked. And after that, I fell down into cooked food. So somehow I could not hold the energy, because that what we eat is connected to our conscious level. And if we are not conscious enough, or we have some inner trouble, emotional topics, then we cannot relate to this food. So our body knows what it needs for the consciousness it has at the moment, and to cope with the environment, with our task in this world. Because if I am only eating raw food, then I have another communication understanding, or no, I have some other channels opening. Like raw food is opening my ears. It's like I hear a lot, and it's really closing down logical structures, and it closes down also fear structures. There's no way of thinking in fear. There's a lot of joy then, and I can listen to all the auditive sounds, like only a small bird singing. I feel like, wow, it's so amazing, yeah? So the problem with this was, when I made this raw food experience, I could not concentrate to read a book. It was impossible. The information, I'm reading a sentence, I'm reading again, it was not coming into me. I was not understanding what's the content. Yeah, you can laugh about this, but I said, okay, this cannot go on, because this was in my study time with informatics, and this thing was like making me a little bit crazy. If I go on with this kind of nutrition, then I'm not capable of getting into these logical teachings. Okay, so I kind of made the mixture, and later on I learned that it's important to combine logical and intuitive mind. Yeah, we have 2 minds actually. It's the logical and intuitive mind, and we need kind of a balance of these kind of energy systems. Sometimes we need to be logical, and sometimes not. Depends on the cases, right? If I'm doing channeling, I would say it's a mixture, yeah. But intuitive mind comes first, and a little bit logic is thinking on it and says, yeah, this makes sense. And it's not coming directly and saying, no, this makes no sense. It's just allowing it. It says, interesting. And when there's something which is really interesting, then it makes like, this makes sense. So the logical mind is waiting for the intuitive mind to process and to bring things up. And this is, so to say, the female part of our human being to go first. This is when in the traditional language you say woman first or ladies first. It's not coming from the woman should go first. From my perspective, it's coming from the female mind should come first, and then the logical. For all problems we enter in our society, in our professions, the female mind should come first, and then the logical mind. So we need to have kind of a balancing of colors, so to say. You see it in the background. It's like colors which are in the opposite, and they need to be in balance in what is coming first. Yeah, I'm not going too deep into colors. I like the green and the pink, so to say, and I use it very often, but yeah, don't mind, don't over judge this. So I think it's mostly it. Yeah, toning and thoughts that are coming in. It's telepathic, right? And there is also a bridge between speaking and thinking, of course. Telepathic is faster. Speaking is slower. But what is exactly fast as telepathic is toning. So it's like you're speaking in light velocity. It's like you cannot speak any longer some words because it takes too long. You need to have some tones which has some information packages on it, so it can get as quick as a telepathic thought and come into this mind structure, this energetic field. And one last thing for channeling, whatever you're channeling, if it's math or energies or whatever, the heart-brain coherence means you need to be in the frequency of love, to feel good, to be in joy, and not to be in fear or anger. So make sure you can resettle into these energies if you're coming out of it. Sometimes you get in a stressful or distracted area with your children, partner, family, at work, wherever. Make sure you come back into the heart-loving feeling. And then from this kind of, okay, I feel good. And sometimes it's not only good, sometimes you say, I'm so full of joy, I don't know where to put this. Wow. And this is the right energy to start channeling, yeah? It kind of gets you the connection points right in a kind of frequency way of thinking. It's the zero line which comes through, and the information, only this information on this line gets to you. And so the distractions get also less, up to zero. So heart-centered channeling is most important for this kind of mathematics, because I realized that 3 years ago, when I made also channelings, it has equal topics, but some of them were going not specific as it's coming now. And I know 3 years ago I was in a really more stressed mood with my kids, which were very small. And what it just shows is information gets really clear when you're in the heart center. It comes easier, it is more efficient, and it's coming to the point where it should go to, and you're not looking here and there. It's, so to say, the female mind is opening a lot, and the male mind is following. If it's the other way around, if you're more in stress, then it's the male mind who is starting and the female is kind of following, but it's like tired following. It's like saying, oh, okay, wait, I can, it's not working. Yeah, so they don't come together. So the female mind is the mind which comes first, connected with the heart. If this is in place, then the female mind is there. And intuition flows, inspiration flows, impulses, all the creativity you have, in what kind of areas, it's important, yeah? So you need to feel good first, and then channeling can start. Okay, guys, thanks so much for listening, and yeah, I wish you a wonderful time. Namaste.